Don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand.
We're about to head outside and start working for the day. We are going to be doing all of the rest of the trim in the living room and getting it all caulked up and painted. And then we also have a couple other things that we are going to tackle. But before that, I wanted to make a sourdough starter or get it going pretty much. It's gonna take a while to get it ready to bake bread. But either way, we're gonna start it today. And this is really, really easy. You need two things, water and flour. So if this is something that you're interested in or you wanna make fresh sourdough bread for your family, then I'm going to try to document this as much as possible, whether I take pictures of it every single day and then add it into the next video or something. I don't know yet, but I'll make sure to document it for you guys. It's really, really easy. And if this is something that you're interested in, just scroll a little bit and we'll get to the actual working on the container house. But for now, let's make some sourdough starter. Like I said, really easy, flour and water. You want some sort of unbleached flour, bread flour, wheat flour. Some sort of unbleached flour is preferable. I'm gonna be using unbleached bread flour. When you're rehydrating a sourdough starter, you want to use something like a scale because you have to be pretty precise with measurements. But since this is going to be from scratch, not a freeze-dried, already fermented starter, we're just going to use a single cup. So the ratio is a cup of bread flour, wheat flour, you get the picture, and a cup of room temperature water. This water is a little bit warmer just because we keep our house pretty cold. So I wanted to give it a fighting chance of survival. So now this is a little bit more liquidy. This is how I like to do mine. Some people will do a cup of flour and a half cup of water, and if that's what you want to do, great. But I have noticed that I have more success if I add more water and just do a 1-to-1 ratio. So that is why mine is a little bit liquidy. But obviously, depending on your house, your temperature, there's a whole bunch of things that factor into it. So you just kind of have to play around with it and figure out what works best for you. Now, sourdough is something that you have to be really patient in. So I'm gonna feed this and discard it every single day for about 7 days before I see any sort of result. Sourdough bread is definitely something that will teach you a little bit of patience if you're lacking. Once you have it nice and mixed up, we're gonna add a lid on top of it and then just kind of push it to the side and forget about it until tomorrow morning. Cody's leaf blowing the deck now, so it's a little loud, but I forgot to mention one thing is you want some sort of loose lid. So I'll use a weck jar and then just its glass lid with none of the little tabs or anything on it. The reason you want a loose lid is because you have to remember that you want it to be alive. So you want it to ferment, you want it to bubble, you want it to be awake and thriving. And so it needs to be able to have some sort of breathability while also keeping it protected and covered. So that is why I like using weck jars, but really just setting a normal lid on top of your jar will be fine. So we're gonna tuck her away and we'll see her again tomorrow morning. Welcome to a world where every breath counts, where the air that you breathe isn't just air, it's the key to your well-being. Introducing the Arnet 4 Home, your ultimate companion in indoor air quality management. The Arnet 4 Home keeps you informed, issuing warnings when air quality reaches unwanted thresholds. Its intuitive design and user-friendly interface put you in control of your environment, whether you're at home or on the go. Remember that you can't improve what you can't measure. And the Arnet 4 measures 4 major parameters: CO2 concentration level, temperature, humidity, and atmospheric pressure. Did you know that high CO2 levels can reduce cognitive function, cause drowsiness, fatigue, and even headaches? And additionally, CO2 levels can be used as a proxy measurement for airborne illnesses. Don't let poor ventilation compromise your health.
And with Valentine's Day coming up, Arnet's running a sale, so this is the best time to pick one up if you're interested in one.
All of the links and every single thing that you need to know to get your own Arnet 4 will be linked right down in the description. Thank you, Arnet 4, so much for sponsoring this video.
And making sure our air stays clean.
Let's get back to building. that thing?
That's a suction tube. So it's a vacuum and a blower. So I had the bag on it earlier and I was sucking up leaves, but I needed to blow a little bit of leaves out of the way and I didn't want to take it all apart. So I just threw the tube back on. That's why there's 2 on there right now. But yeah, I was just trying to clean up the leaves a little bit. Yeah, it's just a quick, easy way to mulch them up and make them degrade a little bit faster.
Got my sourdough starter started. So in 7 days, baby, you get fresh sourdough bread.
Sounds good. Also, you may want to go check the chicken coop because I think there's a ton of eggs in there.
Okay, I've been avoiding it because I know that a couple of them exploded in the freeze.
Yeah.
In the freeze, I was freezing cold, and I'm gonna be honest, I slacked on going and getting eggs, and so I know that a couple of them froze and exploded. However, I can't avoid it anymore. It just needs to be done. I was kind of waiting until I got my Eaton Pastures package in so that way I could do all the bedding and just re-clean the coop, but Cody's right. There's literally nowhere for them to lay anymore because there's so many eggs in there. So let me grab a bucket and let's go grab them. You weren't joking.
Nope, I wasn't.
There are so many eggs in there and just everywhere. Sorry to invade your privacy. Oh my gosh. Sheesh. So many. The first person to accurately guess how many eggs are in these 2 containers, I will reach out to you and send you something. It's probably not going to be anything big. I have no idea what it is, but make sure you're monitoring your comments, and then in the next video I will tell you how many eggs are here and who won. But take a good look, babe, if you want to zoom in. How many eggs do we have here? Check the depth of the containers. I don't know. Let me know. Okay, I float tested a couple of them and they seem to be okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and wash them all and then put them in the fridge. I'm not gonna leave them on the counter just to be on the safe side. And then we have friends coming out tonight, so I'll offer them some and then I'll also give some away to Cody's family. And hopefully we're able to utilize as many as we can. But like I said, I think they're okay. As long as they go in the refrigerator, they'll definitely be fine because, I mean, it's been relatively cold outside, so it's basically like they were in a refrigerator already, so.
Yeah.
It is obviously the very next day. We ended up having friends come over last night and we just played games and hung out, and I'm not one to push the camera in front of everybody's face, so we just decided to put the camera down, enjoy our friends, and start again the next day. So here we are. We're gonna be adding the trim to the doorway.
Yeah, so we got to finish the trim around the front door, and then we forgot about the pantry door too.
Yeah.
So we were just sitting in the living room the other night watching TV and looked over and we were like, yeah, we forgot that
One more doorway.
So we're gonna put the trim around that, put the trim around the front door, and then start caulking and I guess hang out for an hour until we can paint.
Yep. And hopefully that entire project will be done, and then our living room will be technically done, minus the fireplace like we said, and then the baseboards.
I'd say it'll be like 95% done. Yeah, we still got a couple things.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
So if you remember from the last video, the 1x2s we got for around the front door were just a little bit too small, so we went ahead and picked up this, I think it's a 2x6 or 2x8, I don't remember. So we're gonna go ahead and rip that down into smaller pieces and use that for the trim.
So this is the 1x2, and even if we did it in 3 equal parts, we'd still have a little bit left over, so we should have plenty to be able to get all of the doorway trim in.
Alright, so now for our next step, put that off there. Since we have our piece cut to size now, this is the piece that goes behind the part of the door where the hinges are. So the wood needs to be as thick as the door trim is, but also allow space for the hinge right here. Kind of confusing, but basically we're gonna router out some spots right here in 3 different spots. That way we can have a little bit of a recession for our door hinges to sit. It's just kind of a weird situation. Like we said, since it's a container home, the wall is a little bit wider than what your typical door frame would be, so that leaves just kind of some weird spacing. But if you don't remember, everything will make more sense once we go to install this piece. But let's go ahead and get it routed up. All right, now for our last piece.
Hard to see, but where the drywall kind of doesn't meet up with the other piece of drywall, there's wood in there. So he's nailing it into the actual wood, and then when trim is right here, it'll cover that gap.
Now that he has everything cut and test fitted, we pulled it back off because we realized we're probably not going to be able to paint in the door jambs very well without it getting super messy. So I'm just going to paint this up really quick, let it sit and dry, and then we'll actually permanently install it. Still gonna need a second coat.
That's fine. It's mostly just to get in the door jam.
Not my strong suit. Let's paint our front door. Let's paint it green.
Oh God.
Let's paint not the so the outside stay white. Let's paint this part sage green. Yeah, let's do it. The inside. Yes, I've already made up my mind. Like this color. Yeah. Yes.
Get my elbow.
I've already made up my mind. It'll look so good.
Okay.
It'll look good. That's all. Caddy and all this.
I've said it many times, I know I would change my ways, I know for sure. When all the crows decide to meet, they settle down beneath my feet. I've got it right and I got it wrong, but I learned my lesson hanging on. Come sit here with me by the fire and let it go for a little while. So be here as the night starts falling. Let my fingers walk over your head. We got nothing to be scared of. I'd rather be with you than by myself. Now all is in your hands. When I was young, I thought control would lead me to an ending road, and heavy metal seemed to be.
Cody's using the caulk gun to do all of the straight lines, and then I'm taking his extra bits and going in and filling in all of the little nail holes. And then once it's all dry, we'll be able to paint it and it'll all look brand new. I know that some of it is scuffed up. We've had it on the ground and it's been super muddy. So the dogs have definitely done a number to it, and I'm hoping once it's painted, it's gonna look so nice.
Glorious with it. Won't you be my guide and let me follow? Can I hold your hand for old time's sake? And all this time you waited for me. Little did we know, I guess it's fate. Now all is in our hands. All is in our hands. All is in our hands.
All right, so I got pretty much halfway done. I got the front door and the front two windows done. They still need a couple touch-ups in a few spots, but I gotta let the first coat dry and then I'll go back and touch things up. And then we'll probably go ahead and paint it all tomorrow, but it's super tedious work. I'm honestly kind of over it because it's been a long day, and yeah, and I just don't really want to do it anymore. So we're probably just gonna call it a night, get some food, and we'll see you in the morning.
Okay, this is like the fourth time we've tried to film this. Something just keeps happening, but that's kind of how like this week feels. But it's been a couple days since we last saw y'all. It's been a crazy week, not the best week here. We've just had back-to-back bad things happen. Just sad and unfortunate things that have happened over the past week, and I don't really want to get into it or talk about it. Mostly I would just like to ask if you are a praying individual or a send good vibes individual. I know that my family back home in Texas would really appreciate it. So either way, I don't really want to talk a whole lot. We're not really in the most chit-chat mood. However, I do want to work on this house and keep going and just get the rest of the caulk done, paint, and listen to music and take our mind off of things. So that is what we're going to be doing. And yeah.
It's good to work.
Okay. I really think that we could probably just do a second layer on here first, if you don't mind. Just there's a couple areas where the gap is a little big, so it didn't quite get in.
Okay.
But for the most part, everything's done. This right here, I don't know how it got missed. It's just like literally the rest of it's done. I don't know how that one part. But other than that, it's mostly just this window that hasn't been touched. So like over here on this side is good. I mean, you can do a second coat if you want. I just don't think it's necessarily needed.
I'm wondering if I should just run the sander over it and just knock that wood down a little bit.
You'll do all the main areas and then I'll start filling in all the other spots.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, I finished this door and this window, so can you come take a look at them and just double check them? Oh, I already saw a spot. Okay, other than this one spot, okay, come out and take a look.
Yeah, I will in just a second. I'm almost done with this one.
We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand?